Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who come by regularly to check out what I'm doing, you may have noticed the look of my channel is changing. That is intentional because the direction of my work is changing. Not so much at the museum, but in terms of the kind of work that I do within the scope of my educational background. It's become pretty clear to me that Cosmo style, Sex 101 materials and videos are just not my thing. I'm a forensic sexologist, and so I am moving away from that completely, and I have been for a while now. So I am changing gears, and that includes the look of the channel here. I'm also going to be changing my opening graphics away from Sex Nerd to just myself and my name. Um, and that's just so that this channel aligns with my area of focus and the work that I'm continuing to do, which is why I wanted to record today. First of all, I haven't been on camera for a while. I had put up a little video on my Instagram that I've been off camera because I've had a few plastic surgeries. And while I'm still healing from those, it's far enough along in the healing process that I can be on camera again because it's been about 2.5 months since that whole process started. I still have some swelling and some days it's worse and sometimes it's not. So today has been one of those days where the swelling hasn't been all that terrible. And so I felt like I could be back on camera. Um, so so what let me follow up a little bit on my last video, which was my EP unboxing. We had our drop party plus Benny the Hearse's anniversary party a week or two ago now on the 8th, and the food was amazing. Actually, we were um, changing gears at the museum in terms of the kind of cocktails we're serving, and so the night not only was a good time, but also we got to try all kinds of mocktails. It's a thing here in Vegas where you actually have distributors who that's all they specialize in is mocktails. And even the clubs that we're affiliated with are increasingly adding mocktails to their menus. And so it was one of those things where we had the drop party, we had the anniversary party, and then we also were sampling a bunch of mocktails, which happened also again yesterday when we were tabling out on we table every Friday at the museum out on the corner of Sammy Davis and Desert Inn. And one of the gals who is the DJ, or she's an MC over at Cat's Meow, she actually is a strictly non-alcoholic beverage distributor. And so now we have a contact, and we're doing the same thing again. We were sampling a bunch of mocktails. And for me, being someone who's been sober for 30 years now, it was really fun to be able to participate because 15 years ago now, I used to work at the Hustler Club. I ran their mail review for a couple of years, and they would have sampling parties, and I couldn't really ever participate because, of my sobriety. And not that I really minded being left out. That's a world I don't want to have it. I don't want to have anything to do with alcohol or that lifestyle or that world. It's been proven to me over and over again that it's just not a world I want to have anything to do with at all. However, having that sort of mingling is something that I've missed. And twice now in the last 2 weeks, we've gotten to have these taste parties alongside with some of the other things we've done. And this gal that was there tabling with us yesterday, some of the drinks that she does nothing but the premium stuff, which I didn't even know there was a premium, mocktail market. And we got to try a bunch of cool stuff and are going to continue to do that. So me and the staff and her, we were all kind of standing around just having this sampling party, and it was really fun to be able to do that again. It's been a very, very long time since I've enjoyed anything like that. So it was very cool. But so the drop party was fun, and we had amazing food, and I had a lot of like great questions that were asked about like why I titled the EP the way that I did. Actually, just briefly, it was I had come across that combination of words, and it immediately sparked a thought about like Louis in Interview with a Vampire and how he lamented losing his ability to see the color blue. And I still remember one of the lines from that movie where he is getting on the boat to go, I think, to Europe. And he says a line somewhere, I'm paraphrasing here, I wanted those waters to be blue, but they were black, nighttime waters. And then later on in the movie, when he finally, Technicolor movies come around, he talks about his long lost blue. And I always thought to myself, what if that is a representation of, his humanity, like wanting to hang on to his humanity? And that's where that title song sparked itself from, is that thought about Louis in Interview with the Vampire and the color blue. And that was piggybacking on me having just gone to New Orleans a year before, and New Orleans really had an impact on me. Actually, my best friend and I made it. We're doing it yearly, and we're just going to go back to New Orleans yearly, which makes it easy that my daughter moved there like 6 months ago. So I'm going to be in New Orleans a lot, and I'm really excited about it. So between that and this movie, and that's what the song, it sort of came together that way, that it's about um um well, it's kind of deep, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, but basically the firefly represents his humanity, and it's his ability to continue seeing the color blue. And I can go, if I have another uh face to face, I actually do. We're going to be tabling at Cemetery Pulp for Valentine's Day on February 7th. And we have about, I think we have 27 or 28 EPs left. We're going to be taking some of those with us to our tabling at Cemetery Pulp. And, people have just been asking, like, where did that come from? And it came from Louis and Interview with a Vampire in New Orleans and the color blue. And that's why the cover, it has a lot of blues in it. There's, it's the sunrise, and I wanted it to be very blue. And so it was just a very cool night, and I ate way too many cupcakes, which were also blue. and um, and the questions were really awesome, because that was my first like real music effort that I've done on my own, and it was a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm going to be bringing. I don't know if we're going to be bringing all of the remaining 27 or whatever we have to the Cemetery Pulp tabling event, but definitely going to be bringing some. So if you happen to be in Vegas and you want to come by Cemetery Pulp, it's February 7th. I think you can just go to their Instagram and find out more about the event, and I'll be there with my staff. We're going to be tabling. We're actually going to be bringing Benny along, which is our hearse. And so he's going to be there, and we're just going to have a lot of cool little nicks and knacks and our clothing line and stuff like that at the Cemetery Pulp Valentine's Day event. So there's that. And then the next weekend, which is Valentine's Day, we're going to be tabling both on Friday outside of the museum, and then we're going to be tabling inside on Valentine's Day on Saturday, which I think is Valentine's Day. Lisa, my development coordinator, she's handling all that. But so that leads me to, of course, the changes that you might have seen on my channel if you follow me at all, or you hear regularly. The channel is changing. I had said already that I was going to be changing the channel, and I've said that repeatedly over the last few months, but I decided that I wanted to use it in order to talk about my books. I just finished the manuscript for my next book, which is The Sexual Art of Serial Killers, Volume 2, Duality. And I'm not going to go into a lengthy description as to why I called it that or what's in the book. just yet. But that's why I wanted the channel to change. Is my focus online is going to move away from, just regular sexology into the forensics that I've been interested in since, I got into college all those years ago. Um, and so I did add a section for some of the sex nerd um, episodes that I did with Josh when we were still doing that together, and then the true crime, which I don't have a lot on here because I really can't talk much about what I study and what I write about. I have to be very careful with the censors. Josh over at Breakfast Cereal, he's also going to be reviewing my manuscript, and he's even had to change gears the way that he does his channel, which is really paying off for him, by the way. So congratulations, Josh. But uh, I decided that rather than worry about views or clicks or, having 100,000 people watch one of my episodes, that I really just wanted to focus on, my writing. And so the next book, oh, and that's why also Benny's section came down, Benny the Hearse. Plus, his story has completed itself for the purposes of marketing. Like, people in Vegas know who Benny the Hearse is. You can Google it. The Google has a whole description. The AI describes who Benny is and the role he plays here in Vegas. He's constantly invited to events, especially around certain holidays, like, Benny's going with us to Cemetery Pulp, and really during like September, October, and a little bit into November. He's very busy running around. So people know who Benny is. I don't have to keep doing that series. Plus the kind of material that I could produce with AI driven platforms just had reached its limit. So I decided that, I wasn't going to be able to continue to tell the kind of story that I want to tell with Benny's material, given the limited stuff that's available out there with AI. So, and people have this idea that AI is this big monster, and I took last spring, I actually took a few college classes. I audited them, and one of them was machine learning engineering. And so I wanted to understand, like, you know, what is AI capable of? What are its limits? And AI is way more limited than people give it credit for. Without a human operator, AI just goes, they call it, it hallucinates, and it will fabricate things and so forth. So it really needs very strict frameworks and a human operator to guide it. It's a great tool, kind of like Grammarly, where it can check stuff, it can search for things for you, but AI really isn't as advanced as people say it is. And like I said, I took an engineering class for these LLMs, and so I could understand it at its core level, and I got a B. That was good. But it's really limited, and I didn't want to pay. Plus, in order to get it to do anything remotely, um, I don't even know what the word would be, believable. I was paying $150 a month to do his episodes, and it's still way too limited. So Benny's series has come to an end, but Benny's life hasn't. Benny is still busy. Our hearse is still busy running us around the town. So there's that. So, and I'm not sure. I've been off camera now for a while because I had several plastic surgeries, mostly on my face, like my eyes and my neck, and I had my ears fixed. They were sort of melted into my jawline because of a facelift that I had had 3 years ago. A neck and face. I had neck, jaw, and mid face done, and my ears did not heal right, so those got fixed. And I had a lower and upper blepharoplasty with a cat eye and a neck lift. So I've been off camera for a while. I've been healing because part of the time I'm just swollen like crazy. So there's that. But I'm back on camera. So I wanted to talk about my book. So the next one is called um, The Sexual Art of Serial Killers, Volume 2, Duality. Um, this was in this book, you know, it was sort of a weird, it was a weird time writing this book. And I've also been writing another one at the same time, which is my fourth book, and writing songs and composing songs and working with music. It almost felt like I was two different people, trying to navigate these back and forth. But like I said, I sent the manuscript off to four or five different folks that, four of the majority are scholars. And then of course Josh over at Breakfast Cereal, because he has such a extensive background in like looking into this kind of stuff with serial killers and whatever. Um, and also, what was also weird is I spent 28 years attempting to do field work of actual realization, and that happened. And I had given up on it. I was working with David Wall, and we were going to be researching another phenomenon that required field work. And actually, I just heard from him today that's happening now. So, which is kind of serendipitous considering, I just finished my book, but I'm still processing having done this field work and now having, if I choose to, having ongoing access to that field work. I'm not sure that I'm going to necessarily um, continue writing or partaking in the field work simply because I feel like the purpose that it needed to serve has been served. And I wrote two or three whole chapters on it in this book, and my forensic and clinical observations. And um, I wear a lot more black nowadays than I have previously, and I was already wearing a lot of black. It changes, it definitely changed a lot for me, just in the way I view the world. And that is not something I was surprised by as a scholar. I've had moments like that throughout my career. So, but it changes your worldview and your lens on things, people. So it's in the book. Uh, there's way too much to go into in the book because I explore all kinds of different things. There's seven serial killers, and I've expanded what I'm defining as art in the book. And I also go into cultural and structural dynamics and phenomenon that enable serial killers to do what they do, for as long as they do. And then I also go into actual realization of the aftermath, and I'll leave it at that. Um, so yeah, so I wanted the channel to be more reflective of the direction that I feel it should go, which is primarily forensic work, my forensic work. I just won't be able to do podcast episodes really around this stuff because YouTube pull, they're just, I can't, it's going to have to be in written form. Um, and you know, uh, my books are going to continue to be obscure. And then depending on, maybe there's a fifth book in there with David, and the work that we're going to be doing. It's his project. I'm there as his research partic or a researcher co-researcher, but he's leading the project. So just a lot of life altering experiences professionally, personally. So um, it's never boring. And it's, it's, I really can't go into it. You have to read the book. So, um, but in the meantime, I want to thank everybody for sticking around while I've been sort of changing gears. I want to thank my surgeon, my laser tech, and everybody who's worked on my face recently. I'm very, very happy with the results. And the healing wasn't as terrible as I thought it would be. And it's weird when you are awake on a in a surgical suite on an operating table, and when you have your eyes done, they have to protect them. So they put these huge, huge, like top to bottom contacts in that looked black. But when they put them on my, they had to like cover my eyes with this layer of jelly and then put the contact in on top of it. And you, because the light from this, the surgical light that was over the operating table, they put it so close to my face, I could see blue sparkles. And it's a very weird feeling looking at blue sparkles and knowing that they're cutting your eyes up. And it doesn't it doesn't hurt. Obviously, I was numbed up, but to be awake for that, at first I was a little nervous, and then I was, they put that in, and I'm like, well, I don't feel anything. But it's just to be conscious for that, you know. I actually asked the doctor to take to take a picture of me laying all angled on the table, but he never sent it to me, and there's probably a reason for that. So, but I tried getting a picture of that. So anyway, so that's all I can think of right now. So, thanks to everybody for the really great questions during the event that we had, and I'm looking forward to talking to more folks over at Cemetery Pulp with, what we've got left, and my book. I am hosting, I just put a post up. I am hosting a book signing on October 30th because I really feel like this should be the signing, and the meetup should be for Halloween. And I'm sure we're going to be doing all kinds of stuff with Benny on at the actual Halloween night. So that day before, that Friday before, I'm doing the signing. But I think the book, if it's on track the way it's looking, it's on track. That will be probably released in April, I think, because my reviewers, I have, like I said, several reviewers, and they're coming back with very little that they feel needs to be fixed. Or so I have a developmental editor, I have a copy editor, I have a couple of proofreaders. Actually, Ralph Greco, who helped write my last book with me, he's my developmental editor. And then I also have, I think it's Paige. She's coming back as my proofreader and copy editor. So, and then I have all, my scholarly friends who are reviewing it and, telling me what needs to be changed and stuff. David already finished his review of the book and gave me a lot of great feedback so that I could improve the book. So I've got a lot of really great people that are helping me with this. So, but everything's happening really fast now. So I'm thinking it'll be able to be released in um, or in April, and I'm going to put that right up here. I've left that actually up this whole time so you can see the cover art. So I hope once I release it, I hope you're interested and you want to pick up a copy. And with that, I think that's it. I can't think of anything else. So thank you so much for stopping by. The channel is going to continue to change. Like I said, I'm going to have my graphic artist, George, work on another, a new sort of opener and closer, intro and outro. And I just don't know what that should look like yet. And but I'm turning this channel more into a booktube or an authortube kind of channel. So it's in progress. And then also I'm still working on Univox, which is the artist social media site that the museum's been developing. We've just got a few. I knew it was going to take months to do, but we're pretty close. We're going to be working on it again next week. And then we're also going to be updating the museum's website. So you'll be able to see like a banner link to Univox. And that's basically going to be a curated social media that's for artists, and the museum is going to be curating it. Our curating department is going to be curating it, and it's got all kinds of cool functionality. But also it's so that we don't have to worry about the censorship on um, like on Instagram. So obviously there are going to be guardrails in place to make sure that no illegal material is posted there, but um, you know, explicit art and the like is going to be allowed there, which of course on Instagram, people get their stuff shut down all the time. So, but all that's going to be announced. I'll come up on here and announce all that when that happens. So, and I've just gotten back into, since I've healed now, I've just gotten back into modeling again, which I'm having a lot of fun with. And I think Chrissy from Dollhouse is going to be back in the United States this year. We're thinking of hosting, we're in discussion with her to host an exhibit and have her come out and lecture at the museum sometime this year. And then, she and I have some gigs planned, and then I have a gig planned, a modeling gig planned in LA in February. Um, and just random stuff. I know I'm just like I met this gal yesterday that's the, mocktail distributor, and she's like, listing off all these things that she does. She's a distributor, she's an MC, she's a singer, she's in a band. And I'm just like, yeah, I do this, this, and this, and this. And she's like, yeah, it's just one of those things, I love to multitask and do all kinds of different stuff. So anyway, that's catching everybody up. Um, Thank you for sticking around. I will be back on another update when we get closer to launching Univox, or I'm getting closer to the book being ready. And I think that's it for now. So take it easy, and I'll see you next time.